Hello everyone and welcome to this YouTube video. So in that first video I'm going to complete my flight review of United Virtual Airline. So for this flight I'm going to use my laptop with Flight Simulator 10 and pmdg 737. So as you can see I'm going to use 737-800 next generation of United. And we are now at Washington. So now let's go inside. So basically, for the flight review, I'm going to complete a right circuit pattern at the runway 1 left of Washington. And during my flight, so I will use the UVA checklist. And I have also the flight manual of Boeing 737 in case. So I will try to be very realistic with the preparation and every step of the flight. So let's go for it now and let's see. So we will start the aircraft from a cold and dark situation. And I'm going to use the different flow for the start. So here we go. So first of all, let's put some battery, and I switch on already the emergency exit lights, position light on, and I will put ground external power. So now it's connected. I can connect the ground power on, and also the pack in auto left and right for the air conditioning. And now let's do the preparation flow now. So we'll start with the upper part. So this light for the flaps monitoring position, case check, my IRS in nav position 1 and 2. Okay, so the audio panel is check, engine, electronic engine control for 1 and 2 are on, crew oxygen, pressure is check, normal, landing gear light green, Mach airspeed warning number 1 is working, number 2 also, stall warning test 1 and 2, so I think it's something from the simulation, so we'll check it later. I continue the preparation, so now flight control, so the hydraulic of circuit A and B are not pressurized, so I will do it now with electric pumps. Okay. Now it's done. All the switches are guarded. Flat and flaps, standby hydraulic, no light, the damper on. Now the navigation. All the switches are in the normal position. Display same. Source auto. No fuel panel. So every valves are closed since the engines are not running now. The fuel pumps, we leave this off. Electrical panel, so we check the battery voltage is at 28 and not in use, so no intensity. Now standby power is not in use. The generators 1 and 2 are not driving, and the disconnect switch is guarded. Now here everything is normal. The bus for Gen 1 and 2 off. But the ground power is connected to all of this, so we have no light. Now wiper left and right in park position. The UGT of the APU is 0. Equipment cooling normal. Emergency is guarded. You can put in auto the fasten belt, and no smoke. Let's continue window it, so I test the light and I switch everything on. Probit not yet, anti-ice is not used for this flight. Hydraulic pumps on, so I have to be careful, so I have doors open. Now pressurization, so cabin pressure is okay. Pressurization, the trimmer on, the row circuit, the fan circulation left and right in auto, the pack auto, the sun valve, okay. Engine bleed on, APU bleed also on, and the mode of the pressurization is in auto, and we select an altitude of 6,000 feet, and the landing elevation for Washington 300 feet. Now the lights are set, position and strobe, start switches are off, and those lights will keep it off. So now let's continue with the pedestal. Just lever warning, okay, working, and the lever is at the idle position. We check the speed brake and flaps retracted, parking brakes on. Let's do the overheat detection test. Okay, it's working, start caution on. Let's do the fire test. Okay, check. Fire warning, start caution. And the light for the extinguisher of engine 1 and 2 are working, and the APU also. All the lights are fine. We can check the discharger lights 1 and 2. Now the cargo fire test, check. Okay, so this is for the preliminary cockpit preparation. Now the communication, so the radio, we won't use it since it's a free flight, so we have no traffic and no ATC service. The radio navigation, so we will use it later. So it's on. Transponder, we won't use it. And we can check the aileron and rudder trim is set to the normal position. Now we continue here. So we can set now the FMS, and first of all I will set the fuel for this flight. So according to the flight review documentation, so there is a text explaining how to use the UV fuel planning. So I will just put the numbers from this example, which is 15,825 pounds of fuel for this flight, and the payload the same in order to respect the 80%. So zero fuel weight is 127, and gross weight is 142. So I did something wrong for the fuel. 15825. That's it. Okay, now I have my takeoff weight of 142.8. We can go back now to the hidden page now. So the model 737-800 WL. Okay, navigation data. I suppose everything is good. Now the reference airport is Washington, Kilo India Alpha Delta. Now I need to align my IRS set. Now let's go for the routing. So we're taking off from Washington, and it's a circuit, so destination will be the same. So 19 left for the departure, and arrival we are going to use ILS 19 left. So doesn't matter for the discontinuity, since at the beginning I'm going to use the heading selector and level change for the autopilot. So we can do it like this. Now let's go to performance. So zero fuel weight is already inserted. The reserve, let's put 2.5. The cost index, let's put 36. And the cruise altitude, 6,000 feet. Okay, we continue. So since the Washington runway is very long, so I'm going to derate the engines to save fuel and noise. So let's have it at 35 degrees. Okay. Takeoff. So takeoff setting flaps 5 with the CG. So we have our takeoff speed V1 at 140. I can put it here. Also, I will do everything. Also, my heading. So it's 191. Runway heading, and the altitude will be 6,000 feet. 6,000 feet. I can switch my flight director. So takeoff and acceleration height and reduction thrust is at 1000 AGL, which means after 1000 AGL I will be able to retract my flaps. Another thing, I will add some fix. So we're going to use the VOR Alpha Mike Lima and put some radial that will indicate us where to turn for each leg of the circuit pattern. So the first radial is 235. So once we took off, and once we reach 6,000 feet, we are going to turn to the crosswind, so west basically, and once we reach this radial, we will turn to the downwind. And same, the end of the downwind will be shown by the radial 340, and the end of the base will be shown with radial 355. And after this, we will intercept the ILS 19 left. So okay, everything is done for this. I will go back to the takeoff page. Here we go. Now last flow for the panel from left to right. So okay, the altimeter is set to 992. The auto brakes in rejected takeoff mode. The landing lever is set. Quick check here, speed reference auto, and set auto. Fuel flow at rate. Okay, we have still nothing. We can check the oil. Okay, we can check the hydraulic. So pressure and quantity is normal. The brake pressure, ground proximity, so all switches are guarded. And we can go to the checklist now. So preparation, pre-flight checklist. So briefing first. So as I said, we are going to taxi. So we are actually at the gate Charlie 1, and we are going to use the taxiway Delta and then Kilo in order to go to the holding point of 19 left. Then we will take off with flaps 5 and auto thrust with takeoff go around mode, and we will climb. So by using the flight director, so I will basically follow it, and at 400 above ground level, so at 700 feet, I will switch on the VNAV and I will follow the profile until I reach 6,000 feet. So here we go now. Briefing is done. ACARS, no need. Flight deck windows, close. Oxygen, another check. So the pressure was normal. The mask, my mask is working. Aero selector in nav mode and the navigation display is working. Pressurization set auto with a good altitude. Auto throttle armed. altimeter and flight instruments. Okay, so it's the flight instruments are working, altimeter is set. Speed brake lever, down detent, parking brake on, engine start lever cut off, gear pins, so let's say it's on board and pre-flight checklist completed. So now let's go for the before push checklist, so seatbelt signs, on. Fuel, so fuel on board is 15.8, now I can switch on all the fuel pumps on, and crossfeed valve close. Then hydraulics pump, everything is on, check, and the doors. So I have a lot of doors open. So I need to close. But left forward. Okay, we'll see this door later once I will disconnect the ground service. And before push checklist complete, so now I will start the APU, so beacon light on and APU. Start. Just a quick view outside. Okay, I need to, once I will remove the ground service. Okay, so let's see if the APU GT is stable. We can check also on the electrical panel. So we selected the APU. So okay, now we have the alternative AC voltage. And we can connect the APU generator. And I will disconnect the ground service now. Disconnect. Okay, so while I have this light left or forward, over wing. Okay, I think it's a bug, let's disregard, I will check this during the taxi. Okay, so now let's go for the pushback procedure. Okay, straight line of 20, we're going to put the nose to the west, left, and do 70.
And ground cockpit. Hi, Captain. We're all set to go up here. We've been cleared to push and start at your discretion.
Right now, ready for push. Power area clear, doors closed. We are ready for pushback. Expect braces.
Parking brakes.
Okay, parking brake is on, cleared to push.
Okay, so let's go for the engine start procedure. So I need to remove all the pack. Start switches in ground position. And I need to monitor N2 and the GT. Okay, at 25, I can put the cutoff lever idle. will test every light to check. So kill the light are good. Okay, autopilot disengage. Okay, now not still here. Okay, the engine number 2 is on. Let's go for number 1.
Push is complete, set back brake, please.
Alright, brakes are set and pressure's normal.
Okay, so still wires out, pin is out.
Okay, now we can put the number
Alright
1
guys, thanks. You're cleared to disconnect. We will be watching for the pin and the release guidance on the right side of the airplane, and we'll see you guys next time through.
Roger that, have a good one.
No, I guess this is a bug. Over left forward, over wing. And now this is not. Anyway, okay. Let's disregard this. So now engine number 1 is on. So we can put the generator 1 and 2 and put back the pack in auto. And let's go for the checklist. So after start checklist. Generators on, check. Probe it for 1 and 2 on. Anti-ice off, recoil down, auto brakes RTO mode and check. And flight control, so I need to check my flight control. This check. So after start checklist completed, so now I can remove the APU, so APU bleeder and APU off. And let's go to the holding point of 19 left via delta and kilo. So I will try to respect my speed limitation of 30 knots on the ground. Okay, so delta now kilo taxiway. So just to save time, I will already put flap 5. I will check the stall warning. Now it's off. Okay, so last turn before the takeoff. So we will mark the stop. Okay, parking brakes on and checklist. So before takeoff checklist, fuel final weights are checked. Let's go back to the takeoff. So I need to execute this. And one limit. Okay, takeoff. So the takeoff speed are checked. Flaps at 5 and green light. Thrust in auto, and we are going to use a to-go button, takeoff go on button, sorry. The trim is set for the takeoff. FMC, so takeoff page. My MCP is checked, so speed V1, the runway heading and the altitude. Heading selector is done, and VNAV later. Departure announcement, so be ready for the takeoff. Air conditioning and pressurization set auto. Star switches in continuous. And I will put the landing light. And let's suppose the wind is calm and ready to take off, runway 19 left. Okay, so let's put the correct view, like this is okay. So okay, so let's go. Let's do 40% first. Okay, everything looks stable. Trigger button. Okay, now let's check.
V1. Rotate.
Rotate.
V2.
Positive climb gear up. $700 feet VNAV on. Okay, 1000 above AGL flap. Speed check flap 1. Okay, speed check flap 0. And let's continue. So my maximum speed will be 250 knots. And now we can activate the autopilot. Okay, now we can do the after takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds and packs auto check. Landing gear down, up, sorry, and off position. The lights are checked. Flaps up and no lights. We can remove the start switches off and the landing light, so we stay at 6,000 feet, so we can keep it. And okay, after checklist, so now all the lights are normal. After takeoff checklist completed. Okay, 1,000 to altitude. And so as soon as we reach 6,000, I will start turning to heading 2820. Okay, now we reach 6,000 feet. Let's go to heading 2820. Okay, so quick check also here. I can put my auto brakes off. Okay. And okay, the overhead panel is clean. The first time I'm recording, so that's also why I put all the graphical setting to the lowest setting in order to have a good fluidity for pmdg. With a winter landscape from Washington. Okay, we are at the end of the crossway now, so we can put our next heading of 010. So now we are at the right downwind, runway 19 left, and as required from the flight review documentation, once we are abeam the airport, we are going to reduce our speed to 210 knots. And later I'm going to do the approach briefing. Okay. So no, not yet. But here we can see the airport from here. So let's start our reduction to 210 knots. Quick scan here, but everything is okay, no lights. Very good. Perfect, lovely aircraft, lovely weather. And once we are entering the base leg, so I'm going to do the descent checklist and then the descent. So just to save some time, I'm going to put already the frequency for the ILS. So Washington Dulles International, so for ILS 19 left. So the localizer frequency is 110.1. I will put on the 2 panel 10 with a final course of 1901 for 19 left. And my decision 8 will be minimum 200 feet above ground level, so I will use the radio altimeter. Just to reduce the workload, it's already set. Okay, we see the localizer, so the frequency is correct. Okay, 10 nautical miles out before the base. Okay, we are close to the end now. Another quick scan. I will zoom my display. Okay, the next one will be Izumi. My legs. Okay, I will change this to 10. Oh no, let's put 1820. Okay, now we can join the base at heading 100 now. And let's go for the descent checklist. Descent checklist, so pressurization set, auto, recall. Okay, reference speed. So for this landing we're going to use flap 30. Because Washington runway is huge and like 11,000 feet, so more than enough. Radio and FMC, so the ILS is selected and is here. Final course also. Approach briefing, so as we said before, we are going to join Izumi direct. So once we cross the last radial 355 of AML, we are going to start the descent to 3,000 feet. And we will intercept the localizer of ILS 19 left, and we will follow the path. So at the beginning I will use the FMS, so with the vertical and lateral navigation mode. And later on, before the final approach point of this precision approach, I will disconnect to the autopilot and auto thrust. Okay, so approach briefing completed. Okay, so now let's go direct to Izumi. Execute. So let's have navigation now, and I select the next altitude, which is 3000 feet. Now I will keep the level change for the speed. Okay, the localizer is displayed. So you can also use a terrain radar, but Washington looks very flat region, so I think it's not necessary for this landing. Okay, 1000 to altitude, check. Okay, the glide slope also appears. So I will zoom again, 5 nautical miles. Okay, 3000 almost. Okay, the localizer is alive, so I put the VOR lock mode. Now I will put flaps 1 and vertical navigation. Okay, we are at a maneuvering speed of flap 1. Okay, speed check flap 5. Okay, glide slope alive. I will put my last altitude at 1700 feet. And approach mode, and let's do the landing checklist. Landing checklist, so start which is continuous. Speed brakes armed. Auto brakes mode 2. Gear down. And flaps, so I continue. Okay, landing gears, check. Okay, flaps 15 now. Okay, we'll disengage the autopilot. And auto thrust. Okay, and flap 30. And I know that 191. Okay, the runway is in sight. Okay, we continue.
100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
Okay, speed brakes and reverse. Okay, so retract flap and speed brake retracted, reverse off. And let's leave the runway here. Taxi light on. Okay, speed brake, auto brakes off. So okay, welcome back to Washington. Okay, now runway 19 left vacated. And let's go back to the parking now. Okay, we can switch the APU on. Okay, let's use the first parking to the left. Okay, let's go here. Okay, now right. Okay, let's park here. And now, so APU generator is connected now, and we can go for the parking checklist. So parking brake set, normal, lever cutoff, off, iOS selector, off, probe it, remove, anti-air switches off, hydraulic systems, as well. So I remove the electrical one, fuel pumps. So I leave this fuel pump on for the APU. Start switches off, 1 and 2, beacon off, radar and transponder off, APU bleeder on, and the APU, so I let this on for now. And okay, so now we completed the flight review today, so feel free to put any comment. I mean, it's my first video and first flight, so I will really appreciate to learn new stuff, and thank you so much in advance for everything. And see you soon for another flight. Goodbye.